Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, The Vanishing, starring Gerard, Butler. And who else is in it? I don't even know. Peter Mullan, Connor Swindells. There's not a lot of actors or actresses in this movie. Kind of saw a little bit of that coming with the reviews. It is based on a true story about 3 lighthouse keepers who discover gold and then they disappear mysteriously. So, just skimming over the reviews, which I hate to do, but I was in a quandary in what movie to watch tonight. There's a couple out that are like in the 5. So this one was 5.9 on IMDb as we are starting to watch this. The other one was 5.8. So it was like really a toss-up. And I had to read a little bit of the reviews, but you know, it's very mixed. 10s, 5s, you know, so I don't know. It's all over the place. 1,708 people, so not a lot of opinions on this 5.9. I'll get into it a little bit. I think I mentioned it's based on a true story. I do believe there's a lot of fiction from the gleaming of reviews that I've read. But I'm going to start it off here and check it out. And check back in, tell you what it's really about, and tell you what I'm thinking so far. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully we found a good one. I'll be back. Hey everybody, I want to do a quick check-in here. We're at the 1 hour, 54 second mark. And I'm smiling because as I gleamed over the reviews, they said it was kind of boring because it all takes place in one area at the lighthouse with only 3 actors so far, really. You know, but I didn't realize an hour went by in this whole film. I was like, hey, let me check and see where it's at. And I don't know. I'm interested. I think it is not at all boring. There's some parts are a little bit slow, but anyway, who cares about that? Well, I'll get into that a little bit more. But they are 3 lighthouse keepers, and I realized I saw this somewhere else that this was, I think, formerly known as The Keepers. That was going to be the title of the movie. Now it's The Vanishing. Whatever, maybe you heard of it 2 different ways, but they're lighthouse keepers. There's 3 of them. They all stay at the lighthouse. They kiss their families goodbye, and then they go there and they live there and they keep the light spinning. And when there's fog, they use the foghorn kind of thing. They cook for each other. They hang out, that kind of thing. And that's really all they show. They show them hanging out, eating crabs, teaching them one. There's a younger guy than Gerard, Butler, and then a little bit older guy. But they're all there, and they've been doing this for years. And so anyway, long story short, somebody washes up on shore with a chest, and in that chest is bars of gold. And you know, whatever, I'll leave a lot of the specifics out of it, but they have these bars of gold and in this chest, and they're all excited, so they make a plan on how they're going to be able to keep this gold. And you know, use it for themselves. So they have to think about it because they can't just go back and just start spending money, right? So all's well and good. Next thing you know, a boat is coming towards shore with 2 guys who happen to be looking for the gold. Okay, so that's kind of where we are now. A little bit past that, but I don't know how much I want to tell you. But these 2 guys come, and that's essentially, they're looking for the guy who left on a lifeboat. And interestingly enough, the way he tells him, he was just somewhat honest with him. Says, yes, we found the boat, we found him, and we found a chest, but it's all gone. They report it, and somebody came to take it, which is not entirely true, which we know. So I thought it was interesting that he just didn't come up with a better lie if they wanted to try and keep the gold. But that's where we are so far. As far as how I feel about the film, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, an hour went by. I didn't even realize it was an hour. There's 47 minutes left. So we'll see where it goes from here. But it's not boring. It is all in one setting. And it is mainly those 3 actors. Now I said these other 2 have shown up and that other guy a little bit. But other than that, it's really just the 3 of them. But they keep the pace up. So hopefully that continues. It seems like action is going to start to brew a little bit heavier here in the last 40 some odd minutes, and could even get better. So, you know, as I said, they vanish at some point, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, kind of setting up on how you know, but maybe that could change. And enough of me talking. Let me get back into it and see if I continue to like this movie and recommend it to you. But so far, so good. All right, I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of The Vanishing, and I have to say, it was pretty interesting. Now, as I say that, I have to tell you a little bit of the backstory. So this is somebody's interpretation of what happens, or just, something they concocted. This by no means, I mean, the only true basis of the story is that 3 lighthouse keepers went to man the lighthouse for 6 weeks. So they do shifts every 6 weeks, and they change in and out, and 3 of them do it or whatever. And they went there, okay? And then the next lighthouse keepers have come 6 weeks later, and they're no longer there. That is pretty much it. Now, there are some additional details as I've done research on. This is actually called The Mysterious Disappearance of Eileen Moore Lighthouse Keeper. So this is a lighthouse in Flannan Island, in the Flannan Islands in Scotland. So, you could look it up. It happened in the 1900s, right before Christmas. And, there's a lot of different details to that they talk about when this is not the movie. This is the actual disappearance, that when they showed up, the door was unlocked. 2 of the coats to go outside were gone, or were left, or whatever. And, coats, and 2 of the coats were gone, 1 was still there. I'm going to say that's what it was. When there's always 3 people there, and by law, 1 person has to always man the lighthouse, so all 3 of them can't leave the lighthouse at once. And a chair was knocked over, half-eaten food was there, and then the logs. A log tell a little bit more of the story of a storm coming in and things like that, although nobody else knew about the storm hitting this area. But nonetheless, these lighthouse keepers have really disappeared, and nobody's ever seen them again. Nobody's ever heard from them again. Their bodies didn't wash up on the shore, anything along those lines. So that's the story that we know that is the true story. So the whole story about gold and things like that again is somebody's side of the story on how they think they might have disappeared, and might be more of a fairy tale or an urban legend than it is, any factual thing. So that might ruin it for you when you go to watch this. But I mean, if, like I would, somebody who's researched this a lot, I could see them hating this film and being like, hey, there's this and that. But, maybe knowing a little bit of that and saying, okay, this is one person's interpretation of what could have happened to these 3 guys, you might enjoy it a little bit more. I think I'm more intrigued by the actual events and the mystery behind it, not knowing anything about it before watching this film. So at the very least, this film made me start doing some research. I like that kind of stuff to look back on, to see what really happened, and maybe myself kind of conjure up what I think had happened there. Again, a lot of people had said the movie was boring and slow-paced. There are some slower-paced pieces of it, but as I mentioned in the first check-in, I was interested in the movie throughout the first hour. I didn't realize it went by that fast. I thought Gerard Butler did a good job in his role, and I won't tell you how that goes, but his character changes quite a bit. And the other 2 actors were good too. There was really only 3 of them throughout, 90% of the movie, 85% of the movie, and it really took place. 99.9% of the movie took place on this lighthouse. There was a scene where they were leaving their homeland to go to the lighthouse, and that was it. Everything else takes place on the lighthouse. So having those 2 variables, or whatever, constants actually, throughout the movie, it still wasn't, it still was enjoyable, and it wasn't boring for me. I liked it. It slowed down a little bit after that hour. In the last 47 minutes, it slowed down a little bit more. But I think it's worth watching. Now that you know a little bit about the mystery behind it, or you might have already known about the mystery and that's why you're watching this, to see if this movie was any good. I think if you knew about that ahead of time, you probably, if you research it, you wouldn't be interested in this movie, except for the acting, I think. But if you know nothing about it and you just learned about it from me, this might be of interest to you. And I might have just ruined it too, because going into it blind, I think, was better for me. And then finding out the research afterwards. Long-winded. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I think I might have ruined everything for you if you haven't seen it, or you didn't know anything about the Vanishing, or the 3 missing lighthouse keepers. So I'll stop talking now, because I feel bad. But hey, that's what I do. Hopefully I didn't ruin anything for you. But if you did see it, or you have any comments about anything about the mystery itself, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for ruining it for you. No spoilers, though. I'm not going to tell you what they did. Kimmel's Irish Pub.